This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Living with COVID. We're joined by a panel of expert doctors to help you navigate these very difficult times. We have Dr. Abhumani Boro. She is an endocrinology, diabetes and thyroid specialist. She's joining us from the faculty of the Guwahati Medical College. She is live with us today. We have Dr. A.K. Virmani. He's a consultant physician and cardio diabetologist joining us from Jamshedpur in Jharkhand. We have Dr. Sura Kishore Mishra, who is an associate professor at the MKCG Medical College in Behrampur. Appreciate you, doctors, for sparing the time of day and being with us. I want to begin by asking you, Dr. Abhumani Boro. Many people, suffer from chronic conditions, and at this point in time, they find themselves particularly vulnerable, scared to talk about their symptoms, worried about contracting the infection. If they visit a clinic, what would you advise them?
Yes, so many people do suffer from chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, thyroid disorders, to name them, and there are many. So many people are afraid of going to visit the physicians in their OPDs, but at present there are a lot of teleconsultation facilities that many doctors are practicing. So at least they can teleconsult first, and if at all required, the doctor can tell them if they need a physical checkup or not. And nowadays, even in OPDs, adequate measures are taken so that cross-infection does not happen. Doctors always check patients with the PPE on, with a mask. And also just outside the OPD, there is a screening area where the patients are being checked for fever or any flu-like symptoms which suggest COVID. So those patients are directed to another triage area. So I think there is not a requirement for being so afraid of coming to a doctor. Right. And specifically in chronic conditions, being in consultation with a doctor, at least over telephone, is very important.
And specifically, Dr. Boro, if you could tell us about thyroid and PCOS, what precautions or what advice would you give to those patients?
Yes, thyroid disorders is very common. Every 1 in 10 individual has hypothyroidism. So again, thyroid disorders could be hypothyroidism, where patients have weight gain, constipation, and patient has also they also have lethargic. So the TSH goes high. So in such patients, the good news is that hypothyroidism does not increase the risk of COVID infection. So they can continue taking their medication. They should consult their doctors. They should do their TSH levels as prescribed by the doctors, and they should stock their medicine and should not stop their medicines, and especially in case of children, pregnant, and elderly. This is very important. Again, hyperthyroidism, if the hyperthyroidism is uncontrolled, then the patient can land up with fatal complications like thyroid storm and land up in an ICU. So it is very important to start antithyroid medicines in such patients, and also these patients should know that antithyroid medicines does not increase the risk of COVID infection. Also, patients may be on immunosuppressants. Some thyroid patients are on immunosuppressants for their thyroid eye disease. So in such patients, definitely there is a risk of infection because of the immunosuppressant. So again, they have to take necessary precaution. One thing I want to emphasize that nowadays there is increased incidence of subacute thyroiditis, and it has been seen in literature that COVID infection can lead to subacute thyroiditis.
Right.
So any patient, if they come with severe neck pain in front of the neck, if they have severe neck pain, if the patient has fever, flu-like symptoms, they should definitely consult their doctors. Right. They have to do a thyroid test, and then accordingly it can be tested and diagnosed.
All right, I think that's extremely crucial telltale signs for patients to watch out for. Dr. Virmani, if I can come to you and talk about patients who are suffering from uncontrolled diabetes, what's the advice that you would give them, in the midst of a pandemic, especially seeking medical care at this point?
It's very important, these patients. I've termed a term called sugar tension, which basically means that these patients have a lot of fluctuations in the blood sugar as well as the blood pressure. So they may not be possible to come to the clinic, but it's very important to maintain an open communication with the doctor. So I have told my patients, you can give me a call anytime you have any problem, and then you must follow my advice. And the advice I normally give them is that please do not leave your house unnecessarily. If you have to leave for any emergency reasons or for buying essential commodities, wear a mask, maintain social distancing, and in your house maintain your hand hygiene. Monitor your blood sugar as well as your blood pressure. Have your all the medicines regularly. Please do not go on what the social media news says about any medicine and you stop it unnecessarily without my advice. Maintain an active physical life. Do your regular exercises. Have a balanced, nutritious diet. And this is the time, to pick up things like yoga, pranayam, meditation, have a good family bonding. And then, we have to educate these patients how to recognize signs of hypoglycemia or maybe the ketosis in patients with type 1 diabetes. But I must tell them that I tell my patients there are 4 very important things you must keep in your house, and that is a glucose monitor,
Right.
a home blood pressure monitor, a thermometer, and
Right.
in the times of COVID, a pulse oximeter. These 4,
All right.
along with an adequate supply of medicines. That's very
So
important.
extremely crucial advice there for those who are suffering from diabetes. Doctor also stressing on the importance of exercise and yoga and de-stressing, so spending time with family, etc. But what about Dr. Mishra? If I can come to you, what about patients who've undergone cardiac surgery recently? Cardiac patients are a vulnerable section, more susceptible to complications if they contract the infection. What's the advice you'd give them?
Patients with cardiovascular problems are more susceptible to get complications in COVID-19. And especially patients who have undergone cardiac surgery, the most important thing is that they should continue taking the medicines that has been advised to them, because most of these medicines are meant to be taken over a long period of time. Because many people are biased, and from social media they discontinue medicines, other things. So it is very important. And if there is any doubt, they can always teleconsult with the doctor, and regarding the issues of side effects, if any, that also can be discussed. So again, many cardiac patients are having associated diabetes and blood pressure, and the medication should be taken appropriately. Most importantly, patients who have undergone valvular surgery, it is important for them to be careful about their anticoagulation status, because that is very important, can lead to difficult complications. And relevant investigations like blood counts and PT-INRs should be done from time to time as per the advice of the doctor. And as already mentioned by my fellow doctors, physical activities have to be started gradually, and respiratory exercises like that are advised following open heart surgery and explained to them at the time of discharge should be adhered to sincerely.
All right. But Dr. Boro, if I can just bring you back into the conversation, it's physical activity is something that is stressed upon for a whole host of patients. A balanced diet and good exercise is something, that is recommended across the board. But what about managing mental stress? The lockdown has caused a lot of mental pressure on a lot of people. How would you suggest patients manage mental stress during this period of time?
Yes, it is quite natural to have mental stress, feel sad and disappointed and confused at this point of time. And definitely, as already been said, like a healthy lifestyle and refraining from alcohol, smoking, and also keeping in touch with others, with friends and relatives would help to reduce the mental stress. So apart from this, I just want to add few points that limit the time in front of television. So limit the intake of frightening news. So always go for some reliable news, and you should not be looking after the frightening news. It will increase the stress level, and always focus on what is within your power. So you cannot control COVID-19 virus. So at least you can take the precautionary measures so that you do not get the infection, and always try to be optimistic. Optimistic in the sense you have to change the way you think. So do not think that my family is getting the infection and everybody is going to die. So you just start thinking that many of the patients have recovered from COVID infection. So your way of thinking should be that way. And also to add to this point, also you have to monitor for excessive irritability, depression, suicidal tendencies. So if at all you have this type and it is not coming under control in spite of doing yoga, relaxation exercises, and also taking healthy lifestyle, then you have to definitely consult a healthcare professional or
Yes.
a mental health professional.
Well, I
for
think that's
that,
equally
because-
important as well,
Yes,
and it's very
that's
important that you
important.
highlight that, because I think the mental aspect of a pandemic or a lockdown or job losses or you know, salary cuts that people are dealing with also need to be addressed. And if you're not being able to manage it with just exercise and de-stressing activities, then you need to consult a mental health professional as well. Dr. Virmani, you know, people suffering from diabetes at a time of a pandemic are also homebound. You know, many tend to binge eat, many have many, you know, dietary problems at this time. How can people effectively manage diabetes at home?
That's going to be answered with a Punjabi flavor. Now, you know what is a dhol, the drums that the Punjabis beat. I believe in holistic medicine, and dhol is an acronym for diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and lipids. That means we have to take care of all this, not only diabetes. And what is the answer to a dhol? What the Punjabis do, and that is a Bhangra. Now, Bhangra is an acronym, a B for behavior modification. It is very important that the persons realize and accept the crisis and rise up to the challenge. That's called behavior modification.
Right.
And then there is H for happiness. We have to have a good atmosphere in the house. We have to take it as a challenge and enjoy ourselves. A is for active lifestyle that we have talked about. N is again for good nutrition. G is for a good glycemic control by monitoring and taking your medicines. R is for risk reduction, that is controlling your blood pressure, eating your medicines like statins for cholesterol, etc.
Yes.
And A again is for abstinence from smoking and drug abuse and alcohol abuse. So this is how I sum
Okay.
up how the patient can manage.
All right, I think that's very interesting advice, and you know, of course, the way you've summed it up. But Dr. Mishra, you know, if I can come back to you in terms of managing COVID-19, there has been much talk and theories and studies to and for against, you know, for and against hydroxychloroquine. What do you think is the role of hydroxychloroquine in managing COVID-19 patients? Is it something you recommend?
Yes, ma'am. The initial euphoria regarding hydroxychloroquine as a game changer, as it was said in March 2020, in the treatment of COVID-19 is somewhat petered out, and there is mixed reaction to the effects of hydroxychloroquine in the management of COVID-19. But all said and done, the Indian Council of Medical Research advisory recommends use of hydroxychloroquine as a preventive medication for asymptomatic healthcare personnel who are working in non-COVID hospitals, frontline staff like surveillance duty, in containment zones, and paramilitary and police personnel who are involved in COVID-19 related duties. Right. It is also recommended for household contacts of laboratory proven COVID-19 cases. But SCQ should be used, if at all, for the management should be used early in the disease course to achieve any meaningful effects.
Right. And
probably it should be avoided in severe cases, as some studies have shown.
So very interesting. You're essentially putting a rider saying, you know, hydroxychloroquine and its efficacy has been proven if it's administered at an early stage. It's interesting because there are a lot of studies that substantiate that claim as well. We're going to slip into a very short break. Our esteemed panelists are going to continue to be live with us on the other side. We'll keep the questions coming. Do stay tuned.
Knowledge Partner, USV, your reliable healthcare partner.
Let your little light shine. Let your little light shine for the world to see.
Amity has once again filed the highest number of patents in India. Yet another reason why Amity is ranked amongst the top 3% of universities globally.
अब पढ़ने के लिए नया कंप्यूटर भी मिलेगा और डोसे के लिए नया पैन भी, क्योंकि अपनी दुकान में मिलेंगे आपकी जरूरतों के सारे सामान पूरी हिफाजत के साथ। बताइए क्या चाहिए? Amazon, आपकी अपनी दुकान।
Hello MG, how was your day?
Great, how is it going with you?
It's a human thing.
The all-new 6-seater MG Hector Plus. It's a human thing.
Reclaim your mornings. Reclaim your newspaper. To get the Times of India, log on to wantmypaper.com.
एनडीटीवी और दिल्ली सिख गुरुद्वारा मैनेजमेंट कमेटी ने मिलकर एक कैंपेन शुरू किया है, दिल से सेवा, which focuses on the great Sikh tradition of langar, which is also known as community kitchen. जगह जगह गुरुद्वारों के दरवाजे खोल दिए गए हैं। रोज हजारों लाखों लोगों को लंगर खिलाया जा रहा है, भूखे लोगों तक खाना पहुंचाया जा रहा है। आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट, मैं आप सभी से प्रार्थना करूंगा कि आप इस कैंपेन में बढ़ चढ़कर भाग लें, क्योंकि इस वक्त हमें एक दूसरे की जरूरत है।
ये इंडिया में ना भाई साहब सब खींचते हैं, कोई किसी की टांग, कोई किसी के कान, और ऐसे ही सब खींचते हैं ऐसी वैसी तार जो पहुंचा सकती है आपके घर को भारी नुकसान। माइक्रोटेक वायर्स एंड केबल बिजली बचाए, आग से सुरक्षित रखे और हैवी लोड भी उठाए। सही तार खींचो।
The bold new Datsun Ready Go. Price starts at rupees 2.83 lakhs. Test drive today.
आपकी ये वुडन फ्लोरिंग सिर्फ दिखती अच्छी है या कुछ खूबियाँ भी हैं?
ये है स्क्रैच रेजिस्टेंट, वाटर और स्टेन रेजिस्टेंट, टर्माइट रेजिस्टेंट और है इजी टू मेंटेन, चलती भी लंबी है।
यानी मुझे भी इससे प्यार कर लेना चाहिए।
Action Tessa laminate wooden flooring with German technology. Get ready to be floored.
Hey, new car? नहीं, AMT है ब्रो। सुना? तेरा गिटार नहीं दिख रहा है यार। Hey, come on!
Now with AMT, Renault Driver, space for everything. Renault, passion for life.
Welcome back. You're watching Living with COVID. Our panel of doctors continues to be live with us. Let's talk about some of the issues, Dr. Boro, that concern each and every household. You know, one of the things that happened during the course of the lockdown is domestic help, was stopped. Many Indian households depend on domestic help coming in at regular intervals to help with household chores. Now that, in certain areas, in certain societies, domestic helpers are being allowed back into the society, what are the precautions, what are the do's and don'ts that a household must follow, in order to prevent the infection, if at all there is one, from transferring, from the helper to the household or the household to the helper for that matter?
There is a problem for both the ways. Even the employer thinks that the domestic helper is a carrier and the domestic helper doesn't want to work in the containment zone. So the most important would be if you can employ a domestic helper who stays with you 24/7. If that is possible, then very good. If that is not possible and you are going for a part-time household worker, then definitely first and foremost you have to educate them about coronavirus, educate them about the symptoms, about the sanitization, about the hygiene, and about the hand washing and whatever precautions they have to take. Also, you have to provide them with masks, gloves, and also cap, and ensure that they wash their hands and whether they are maintaining, and reinforce whatever you have taught to them. Secondly, pay them well, and also you have to keep reinforcing the sanitation method and monitor them. You have to monitor them about whether they are feeling not well, they have sore throat, fever, or any symptoms related to COVID infection. And if they have this symptoms, then immediately send them for a medical consultation.
Right.
And vice versa, if any of your family member gets similar symptoms, you also start practicing social distancing and self-isolation so that the infection does not spread to the other family members as well as the domestic helper.
All right. Dr. Virmani, a question that many have asked and, want answered now as more and more people contract the COVID infection and also recover. India's recovery rate has been very high as well. can you get reinfected? Is there a chance of a relapse of the COVID-19 infection once you've already got it? Dr. Virmani.
I think that's the most difficult question, because neither the CDC nor the WHO nor the ICMR has been able to answer this question. But at the moment, we do not have enough data to say that reinfection can occur. And there are some very reassuring news from an animal experiment which was done in two rhesus macaques, which showed that when they were reinfected with the virus after having been cured once, they had neutralizing antibodies in the serum, and there was no viral replication seen from the anal as well as the nasopharyngeal swabs. But having said that, we also do not know whether reinfection can occur because the virus may be mutating. There are 80 genotypic variants of this virus, and antibodies decline after 28 days. And this is what is going to happen after 3 months. Nobody knows, right? Because this virus itself is six months old only. But two very important messages come out of this. One is we cannot give a so-called COVID clearance certificate to those patients who have been cured with COVID infection once. Right. But the WHO calls there cannot be an immunity passport. And number two, very, very important message and implication is that persons who have been cured of COVID, they still have to maintain masking, social distancing, and hygiene.
All right, Dr. Mishra, the other important question that many are asking, and especially those who suffer from cardiac ailments, what's the correlation between COVID-19 and heart attacks?
Apart from the respiratory complications which have been more highlighted, cardiac involvement could be very common, and poor outcomes have been noted in patients who are already having cardiovascular ailments. And cardiac presentation for COVID-19 is rather than respiratory illnesses such as heart attack like symptoms, heart failure are seen frequently at 20 to 30% in various observational studies. And the mechanisms could be multiple, like direct involvement of the heart, like myocardial cell injury, effects of systemic inflammation in response to severe COVID-19 infection, and a high level of cytokine surge like cytokine release syndrome due to own immune response causing rupture of the pre-existing plaques in the blood vessels supplying the heart. And there is also a supply-demand mismatch because of hypoxia, because of severe pneumonia and ARDS-like symptoms. All these factors contribute for cardiac complications, and they are emerging as very important causes of increasing mortality in COVID-19 infection. And also various drugs that are used for COVID-19 infections, which cause hypokalemia, and steroids and antiviral drugs and immunomodulators, they can also play a role in causing cardiac complications.
All right, Dr. Boro, if I can come back to you, can you explain to our viewers the importance of maintaining a sufficient medicine supply at home? And this is, of course, generally to maintain a medicine supply at home, and especially, if we talk about type 1 and type 2 diabetes.
Yes, maintaining a good blood glucose control is very important, especially in type 1 and type 2 diabetes during this difficult time. Otherwise, they are at increased chances of infection. So the type 1 and type 2 diabetes patient should make a list of what the medicines they are on, and then they should stock up. And they should keep in mind that if they have to go for quarantine for a few weeks, what will be the amount of insulin and oral medications that will be required? Because even if the type 1 diabetes, they miss few doses of insulin, they can land up with fatal complications like diabetic ketoacidosis and land up in an ICU. Similarly, even type 2 diabetes, they are on multiple oral medications, including cardiac and renal medications. So they should keep a stock of all this medication.
Right.
Because of this lockdown and government restriction, the production capacity as well as the supply could be disrupted, and there could be a shortage, especially in rural areas. So these people should always stock up, and then always keep drugs as well as essential medicines with them, so that they do not have to miss any of the doses.
All right. I think very important advice there. Very last comments, Dr. Virmani, if I can come to you. Could you talk a little bit about the home isolation protocol for COVID-19 patients?
Yeah. See, home isolation, first of all, you must differentiate from home quarantine. Home isolation is meant only for those patients who are COVID positive and are asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic. Now, this was brought on, the guidelines came from the Ministry of Health and Welfare on July 4th, and this was basically to see that we can keep the beds in the hospital for deserving serious persons.
Right.
But it is important that decision has to be taken by the healthcare worker or the doctor, and the patient has to be very literate, oriented, disciplined for the home isolation. He has to give a signed declaration, and there are three very important points. He must be less than 60 years, temperature should be less than 100.4, and their oxygen saturation should be more than 95. So the patient is tired. They must be having good home facility. A lot of people live, in multiple cramped places. So he must have a separate room, separate bathroom. There should not be elderly people and children living there who can come in contact with him. And the person has to be educated, and he has told about the masking, the protective equipment that to keep with him.
While of
and
course, home isolation protocols are essential, especially for mild to moderate cases or asymptomatic cases. So the hospital beds can actually be reserved for the more severe patients. It's important that you adhere very strictly to the guidelines that the doctors just mentioned. Thank you so much, doctors, for sparing the time of day and answering our questions and being with us in the broadcast. Thank you very much.